The world is never going to be the same again.
I'm worried about the world.
The mass chaos and crises that there was in the world, it's going to be just like that now.
This is not an accident.
How long is it going to last? Longer than, even for those of you that have some cash in the bank, way past your cash reserves.
Out of 100 people, 4 will get the message.
This thing isn't going to be over in a few weeks. This thing isn't going to be over in a few months.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Bearable Bull here. And I got this aggressively average content for you today. As guys, yesterday was Black Friday, and quite literally what we saw was a Black Friday sale across the board for every crypto on the planet. Everything was down 5 to 15% across the board. And the reasoning behind this pissed me off. Ladies and gentlemen, we saw in traditional markets that the Dow tumbled 900 points for the worst day of the year because someone coughed in South Africa. This is what's going to be happening for a while. They're going to continue coming out with different mutations of this health crisis. Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you that don't know, I'm personally a big believer that they need this health crisis to continue to slowly go about collapsing this financial system. For the past 10 years, I spent my life preparing for this specific moment in history. I knew there was going to be a massive currency collapse and a massive financial collapse of this system. In 2008, they did not fix the financial system. They put some duct tape and a band-aid over it and said, all right, let's continue. They stole from the general public and said, all right, we got away with it. Now, right now, they're using everything going on in the world today as cover to crash this into the ground. And people are just going along with it. They know fantasy economics is at play here, but they don't understand why. We in the XRP community understand why. They're going to bring on this new digital quantum financial system, the XRP based, utility coin based financial system. And it's all because of this, the perfect cover dividing the people. But it is what it is. I'm not here to give you an opinion on it. I'm just telling you that's exactly what's happening. But guys, regardless of that fact, the crypto market has recovered today. We're up back to relatively normal prices. Remember in my last video, I told you Bitcoin will hit the $52,000 to $53,000 mark. The bottom is in my opinion, and if it's not, we'll go down just a little lower. And that's okay. Don't be afraid of this correction. Be entering into high quality altcoin positions, in my opinion, because those high quality altcoin positions will change our lives. XRP is on sale for under $1, and we've been hearing BitBoy getting more bullish every single day on this token. He used to hate it, now he loves it. And there's a powerful reason he's putting his reputation on the line on it. It's because it is the chosen one. And we've always been correct. Now here, guys, before we continue with anything else, we had John Deaton, the XRP community attorney, that has filed a class action lawsuit on behalf of 60,000 XRP Army members on BitBoy Crypto's channel. And please listen to what he had to say about an XRP Ripple settlement.
I feel like I know that settlement is coming, and that really a lot of this is smoke and mirrors. What are your overall takes on this case right now? Any updates? Kind of how things transpired.
Sure. Well, a lot of people need to understand you could be absolutely right in the sense that people mistake what's going on the docket, and they think, oh, they're fighting on the docket, that means this, or they're silence, this means that. The way you settle a case like this is you have two teams, Ben. You have a trial team and you have a settlement team. And oftentimes The settlement team stays out of the way of the trial team, and the trial lawyers, they're engaged to fight tooth and nail in every battle, while the back doors they're having their $1,000 luncheons and discussing some global settlement. And they can come to terms, but the devil's in the details.
The devil is in fact in the details, John Deaton. And I still remember when former U.S. Treasurer Rosie Rios shilled that XRP's primary focus is facilitating cross-border payments. Rosie Rios is on the board at Ripple. She shilled XRP at the top of her lungs. She literally stated that XRP is a store of value and a medium of exchange. This is a former U.S. Treasurer. She would not put her reputation on the line for a crypto asset and a crypto company that wasn't in compliance and that could tarnish her reputation. She knew exactly what she was doing when she joined Ripple. She joined a once-in-a-century company so that her career would go through the roof. It already has, and it will yet again. Now guys, we have to be aware of what's going on here. We're being distracted left and right from what's truly going on in the crypto market. We saw a mild pullback and everyone lost their minds. This was not a nasty correction, but a healthy pullback in a long-term bullish uptrend. We see here that XRP Crypto Wolf pointed out, Tether will save us, as November 26th, Tether printed more money. Tether is an obvious scam, and just the other day, the U.S. Senate Banking Committee sought answers on Tether, requesting immediate information about their backing, redemption process, and activities. This Tether bubble is going to pop. When it finally does, everyone will be shaken. I constantly tell everyone because it's a massive factor at play. This can happen any single day, and we have to be aware of the risks involved in the space we're in. We cannot be blind to things like this. Too many people turn a blind eye. But the XRP community is on the money. The reason I bring up something like Tether right after I showed that BitBoy and John Deaton clip is because XRP is the digital asset that Ripple holds the majority of. I think this lawsuit was never about trying to make XRP a security. I think what it's about is about control over the Ripple escrow. I remember it was stated at any given moment, we could literally see the Ripple escrow be burned if a majority vote occurred. Matt Hamilton stated this. I don't think it's going to happen, but it is something that is possible. Now, I do believe that the Ripple escrow is the key to the case. Where will this end up? Where will this end up? PolySign and Standard Custody might have an answer. They might be part of the answer. That is only speculation, of course, but I know the XRP army wants a solution. We want a resolution to this case because our profits have been suppressed for far too long. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to read you some more positive news before we get into the title of this video for today. The reason is because we need to have confidence in holding our assets in crypto. Of course, I've warned about a 70% correction in the past. We do need to take some type of profits and go into other asset classes such as real estate, precious metals, stocks. We also need to start businesses and get our lives on track, maybe pay some debts. This bull run needs to make a serious impact in our lives. But we also need to learn how to own our digital assets too. The reason is because of headlines like this. The Economic Times stated that a new Indian alternative to the SWIFT payment system is needed. And this panel has recommended that an alternative indigenous financial system be developed on the lines of similar systems elsewhere, such as Ripple. That's how massive we are. We are an example of an alternative to the SWIFT payment system. SWIFT is antiquated technology. Ripple and XRP are the solution, and Ripple has been working nonstop to make the use of XRP, the digital asset, a reality. We were mentioned in the recent World Economic Forum document. And over here, we see that Citi's CEO stated we are building the infrastructure for retail real-time payments. Why is that important? It's important because Ripple just referenced this as well. Please listen to what the Citigroup CEO had to say.
Jane, I want to ask you about another huge topic, and that is crypto.
Yes.
And decentralized finance. And I guess I want to, as a CEO, I can ask you sort of the big strategic question. How do you view this nascent, incipient world that is obviously affecting your bank and your business? And how do you plan and move forward?
A topic we spend a lot of time discussing with many of our partners and clients as well. So I think you start off with a premise. It's clear that digital assets will be part of the financial services and financial markets, the future of them. We already see clients very active in the space. Real-time payments are both in the sense of they're frictionless, they'll become more global, they'll become ubiquitous. Real-time payments will be here in the near term, and digital currencies may be part of that future. We see benefits from the digital asset space, instant processing, fractionalization, programmability, and transparency. Very geeky words for geek like me. I love them, but those are very tangible benefits that come from it. I would say we're proceeding thoughtfully and with appropriate caution here. Why is that? There's still a lot of questions about how the space evolves, around regulatory clarity, around some of the scalability, around resiliency, certainly around some transparency, and making sure that there are the appropriate guardrails in the system, particularly for our retail clients. We don't want them participating in areas that they're not necessarily as well equipped to understand the risks of. So for me as a CEO, I'm working to connect our clients to wallets. We're enabling our businesses and our corporate clients to accept consumer payments. We're building the infrastructure for real-time payments, but we're doing so cautiously because the space is moving so quickly.
And guys, there's a reason this space is moving so quickly. Here, I'm going to give you a very brief history lesson from the New York Times discussing Lebanon and the current financial struggles that are happening over there. Guys, I'm going to read you a brief part of this article and then go off into connecting a couple things. To keep dollars flowing in, the head of Lebanon's central bank developed a plan. Banks would offer generous terms, including an annual interest rate of 11% or even 20% to anyone who would deposit dollars. But the only way for banks to make good on these terms was by repaying the initial depositors' money from new depositors. This is a Ponzi scheme. And once people realized that, everything fell apart. 2019 was the year people stopped being able to get their money out of the banks. Officially, the exchange rate remains unchanged, but in everyday transactions, the value of the lira has plummeted by over 90% since 2019. The annual rate of inflation has exceeded 100% this year. Economic output has plunged. This has happened right here in the United States, not yet with the inability of people to withdraw their money from banks, but it'll come. That is the problem, reaction, solution, outcome I believe is going to happen. That'll be an economic banking freeze of epic proportions. Ladies and gentlemen, quite literally, this country suffered the inability to withdraw funds. And when things trickle, they slowly leak out in smaller countries around the world. They eventually come from the bigger giants. We have Evergrande looming as well. This isn't even part of the conversation. I'm just letting you know the state of things are that dire. In my opinion, we will see a banking pause. You won't be able to withdraw from your accounts. And guys, the World Economic Forum let you know, leaked the predictive programming to all of you, was stating, what if weather could freeze your bank account? Ladies and gentlemen, they're going to blame it on the weather. They're going to blame it potentially on a cyber attack. They're going to BS a reason, an excuse for why it's going to happen. They made up another variant as we speak. These people can't take responsibility for their actions. They always have to deflect the blame. But everyone here, we know who's to blame. That's why we are invested in this asset at this moment. The correct moment. We have logic, reason, money, and time on our side. And that's what I need to let all of you know. We've always been correct. The reason the Citigroup CEO is stating we're building the infrastructure for retail payments is they're going to get rid of the fiat currency system. They're going to incentivize digital currencies. They're going to say, oh, you can't withdraw your cash. It's okay, we have this digital currency now. There are countries with minimal freedoms where they're just going to implement it and nobody can do anything. There are countries like the United States with more freedom where people are just going to accept it gradually. But it's coming. They're going to disincentivize cash to the point of oblivion. They're hyperinflating the currency to the point where it's worth $0.00. And let me take you to a point in history where this happened. From Business Insider, written 10 years ago. Here's what happened to stocks during the German hyperinflation. Since everyone is so obsessed with money printing and hyperinflation and the lessons of Weimar Germany, JP Morgan's European property team, led by Major, has published a report on the behavior of various assets during hyperinflationary periods. Also understand one thing, guys. When this happened in Germany, it was right before a certain someone came into power. But we're not going to get into that right now. That's a dark path we could go down. Let's just stick with the money. During Weimar, the German population started to speculate in stocks, similar to what's happening now. From when money dies, speculation on the stock exchanges spread to all ranks of the population, and shares rise like air balloons to limitless heights. The population was now engaged in evading taxation and devoting their money to speculative purchases, similar to what's happening now. In the stock market, nothing makes sense. Even in crypto, things aren't starting to make sense. NFTs are going to the moon. DAOs are going to the moon. Masternodes are going to the moon. Hell, I think even Tether went up by 10% one day. It's incredible. It's incredible. Fantasy economics is at play, but we've seen the history before, and we could predict the future with it. Shares in respectable concerns which had paid a 20% dividend were pushed higher and higher till the final holders could not expect a return of even 1%. This chart shows the performance of the German stock market in terms and marks in US dollars. It is clearly visible that the stock market did not fall measured in marks, but was more volatile in US dollars. We weren't able to find data for property, but believe the chart would have shown similar patterns. In addition, we believe that unique property would have held its value better compared to the overall market. A lot of people ask me, Bull, what do you think's going on with all these different asset classes going to the moon? I'm like, well, I personally think that all these assets are fairly priced. Now I do. Relative to other asset classes, 100%. People are saying everything is in a bubble. I only think the US dollar and other fiat currencies are in a bubble. And everything else is just responding to the hyperinflation that's happening. So what's the end game here? I think the end game is similar to what we're seeing on the screen. Right here, we're seeing the stock market valued in US dollars and in marks. What I'll tell all of you is, I think this will happen to the US stock market valued in dollars and eventually valued in a stable reserve currency. The IMF is going to step in my opinion. A new world currency will be rolled out, in my opinion. Whether it's the World Economic Forum, the IMF, whatever supranational organization will announce what's going to happen, I don't know. But what I do know is that these digital assets we're invested in, and potentially gold and silver, will play a role in stabilizing everything. This is the most frightening display of economic hoopla I've ever seen in my life. And if history repeats, especially with what happened to Germany at this time, then Lord help us all. Guys, here's what I'm going to say. In my personal opinion, the reason I posted this title of this video is to warn you. I will be taking profits this bull run, but the majority of my crypto profits, they'll need to go to other assets immediately. They'll need to go into business immediately. They'll need to go to properties immediately, precious metals immediately. Or I'm going to keep the majority of it in USDC on my ledger. The reason is because I want full control of my crypto assets when everything is said and done. My crypto will be on offline wallets. I don't trust these exchanges. My fiat, quote, fiat stablecoin will be on my ledger. I do not trust the banks because help us. If they freeze our bank accounts, I will not be in this system for the vast majority of this time. Property, metals, stocks, assets, invest in things, not their money. We are now in control. Protect your wealth and protect yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Bearable Bull here. Thanks for tuning in. As always, I appreciate every single one of you. Now I'll be back tomorrow with another video.
I get 24 hours a day just like Bill Gates. I get 24 hours a day just like Beyonce and Jay-Z. You get 24 hours a day, ladies and gentlemen. What do you do with your 24 hours? You need to get more information. In our coaching program, all we do is drop content nonstop. And people are like, wow, I didn't know that. Wow, I didn't know that. See, you don't even know what you don't know. How did you let me come from behind and clip you? Do you guys know the studies show the better we look, the more money we make? Which means your website should pass the eyeball test. Your truck should pass the eyeball test. Your people should pass the eyeball test. You should pass the eyeball test. Everybody in this room has a promised land somewhere, but you can't be stuck on the city you like. You got to hear God and go to your promised land. Your promised land might be Utah. Your promised land might be Minnesota. Your promised land might be Wyoming. Hear me clearly. You better use your money to get information and access, and you better be flexible because a real shark is flexible. Can we stop fronting and get real about this thing? And if I can do it, you can do it. I knew nothing about life. I knew nothing about business, but I had the right mindset, and I learned it through sports. And y'all got to hear my story so you understand. I didn't even start on my college basketball team. I came off the bench. At the University of Minnesota, I came off the bench. But in my mind, you can bring me off the bench, but I'm an NBA ball player when you get through talking. When you get through, I'm an NBA ball player. And that's why I would walk around and say, you can't check me, you can't check me, you can't check me. If I was you, I would walk around every day and say, I'm a millionaire, I'm a millionaire. I declare it right now, I'm worth millions, I'm worth millions. I will receive my salary right now, but I won't accept it as my value. So whatever you receive right now, receive it, but don't you accept it as your value. Because there's more out here for you if you change your mindset.